Okay, everyone, welcome back to what I'm calling episode 2 or part 2 of a previous video where I was talking about bonsai tree soil and how important it is that of the composition that you use and how you don't want to plant bonsai trees in any kind of soil. You can, but there are complications associated with that. So you plant bonsai trees typically in gravel or a substance that is kind of like a gravel, or at least has the same uh, type of granules as gravel. It doesn't have to be specifically rock, but it can be a number of things so long as it's not soil. Anyways, this is my ficus, and this is an update to it. And 3 weeks ago, it did not look like this. In fact, 3 weeks ago, it had almost no leaves on it whatsoever because it was dying. And that's because this pot that this was planted in, this was given to me by somebody as a gift, and on top it looked like this, but underneath was, after about an inch of this, was actually soil. And it was packed in, it was soaking wet, and unless you dug down into the gravel and saw that it was wet, it just looked like it was dry. So I overwatered it, but unknowingly I didn't know that there was that much soil that deep underneath there. So it was basically causing it to rot. So as you can see now, 3 weeks later, lots of new growth, all new leaves have come out on this, have grown very quickly, and actually within the first week, it grew all new leaves, about one or two per branch. So this just goes to show that how much more beneficial planting your bonsai tree in rock is versus soil. When you do plant it in rock, you do need to water it with a fertilizer at least every other time, if not every time when you water it. So you mix up about, what I usually do is use a regular Miracle-Gro, just a general purpose Miracle-Gro, and I mix about a quarter teaspoon of that in a half gallon of water and shake it up, and then I water all my bonsai trees that you see here. There's more in here, but this is just what I'm showing on the camera here. And I'll water them all once a week with that solution. So this here is actually, what you're seeing on top of this is not my own mix. Let me grab it here. This is what I use. I got this from Amazon, Tropical Blend. And this is basically just a mixture of different types of rock along with a little bit of organic composition, which is, I believe, just little flecks of bark like this. There's just a very small percentage of that mixed in there, but it's mainly different types of rock. And this is just for the top part. Underneath it is my own mix. So I just mix safety absorbent along with perlite. And I just do 50-50 of that. And then I cap it off with the tiny roots that I just showed you on top of this, about a ½ inch worth. And the reason I do that is not because the mix that I make, it's not that it doesn't work, it's that the granules are a little bit larger, and if I cap it off with these tinier ground rocks, it helps retain a little bit more moisture. And that way I don't have to water quite as often. I like to water just once a week, usually on Sundays, to be specific. So anyways, yeah, so you can see that this tree came back to life. And it happened almost immediately. As soon as I took it out of the soil, washed off all the roots, and kind of cut away all the rotting roots and re-put it in gravel, it recovered immediately. So that's why you want to use gravel. And in the previous video, I talked a little more about why that is. You can click the link below if you're interested in that. But also, gravel, with gravel, it is impossible to overwater. You could pour 10 gallons of water through this rock, and you're not going to be able to overwater it because it all drains through, and the rock itself maintains a humidity level within the soil, or within the composition. There will never be any standing water in this. There won't be any soppy, wet soil underneath this, except for over a long period of time. If you do have organics mixed in with this, such as these tiny little bark flecks, they will break down into something that would be considered soil, but it would take a long time, and there wouldn't be that much of it in there. If you plant it in soil and cover it with rock, you're asking for problems. So there's a couple other things I have growing here, and they're pretty much all using the same thing. I just have this sitting here right now. This is not where it normally sits, so I just don't have a lot of room in this tent here. I'm just I just put up here to show you. So anyways, that's it for the update on the ficus tree. And then over here I have, this is ash trees. And I got these from outside because here in Ohio we have the emerald ash borer that was introduced a couple years ago. It's decimating every single ash tree anywhere. And in a little while, probably not too long from now, all the ash trees are going to be dead and pretty much extinct, at least in Ohio. So I decided to save a couple and make some bonsai trees out of them, and there's actually 3 in here. I may update a video on that if people are interested, but for right now I just wanted to show that because I'm going to attempt to make some bonsai trees out of these and hopefully prolong the species. So that's it for this video. Thanks for watching.